Hi, my name is Tom Mayer, and we're here in Chicago with Joe Meno. We're talking about his new book, The Great Perhaps. And Joe, I wanted to ask you, music has played such an important part in your fiction. Can you talk a little bit about what it means for your writing and what it means for this book?
Sure. A number of my books have been direct responses to the music that I've fallen in love with at the particular time I've stumbled upon these different musicians or records. My second book, How the Hula Girl Sings, was a kind of love letter to Johnny Cash and his dark ballads of the Midwest and in the South, and so I wanted to try to capture that mood and tone. The book after that was Hairstyles of the Damned, which was a response to all these amazing punk bands that I first came across in the 80s and 90s, and how they called into question issues of society and justice and class, and so that was definitely reflected in the book. And then my last novel, The Boy Detective Fails, was definitely a response to bands like Belle and Sebastian that capture this orchestral, poppy, though very melancholy mood, and so I try to bring that into the book. This new book, the Great Perhaps, for me, is a way to investigate the work of the Beatles, specifically the White Album, and the strange and wonderful and somewhat sometimes absurd or comical tones that they bring together in this very complex way in the book. And they have songs that are love songs that are very intimate, and then songs like Revolution that are dealing with, again, certain social issues, and that hopefully the new book, The Great Perhaps, has that breadth or that span that the White Album does.
Yeah, but one of the songs that comes up a lot in the book is, they're all driving around and listening to the Beatles a lot, and one of the songs that's really important is Yellow Submarine. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that works in the book?
Definitely. It was a song I thought a lot about, or, what's the right song for this opening scene in which the family, they're driving in a Volvo in their family.
Madeline's Volvo,
That's right, in the station wagon, driving to the zoo in Chicago. And since it's Madeline, who's the mother in the family, since it's her car, it's always her choice to pick what the music is on the radio. So she usually picks the Beatles, or she picks David Bowie. And as the book begins, Yellow Submarine just happens to be on the radio. And the reason I picked that one was because I wanted a song that captured that kind of absurd, comical, or even cartoonish tone where you're not exactly sure what Yellow Submarine is actually about, but it has this almost childlike tone to it, and a great sense of humor. And hopefully the opening chapter and a lot of different parts of the book has this really absurd, comical quality to it. And also, one of the main characters, Jonathan, who's the father in the book, he's a paleontologist. And he has this quest that he's on to find this extinct giant squid, which he believes is still alive. And so Yellow Submarine seemed like it would be reflective of that quality in him, that he's looking for this undersea animal. And the last thing, the last reason that I picked Yellow Submarine was because I wanted something that suggested this quality of this family inside this vehicle traveling downtown, almost as if they were hermetically sealed or disconnected in some ways from what was going on in the rest of the world. And that's really what the question of the novel is about this family, which is in some ways a miniature version of the larger world and the different struggles that they have, most often with the idea of complexity in their own life.
Like the difference between a localized cartoon and the big wild world, and how complicated it can be.
You got it. That's exactly what. And that's what I feel like the Beatles captured so well in that record. So hopefully the book will live up to some of those very grand ambitions that album produced.
Well, it's really a pleasure. Again, The Great Perhaps, May 2009, and you can read all about Madeline and Jonathan and their family and Yellow Submarine.